If murder is a sin, why was it okay for David to kill Goliath? Our church recently had a question and answer Sunday, and that was one of the short but really impactful questions. If the Ten Commandments say, you shall not murder, if that's a sin, why would we praise that shepherd boy David who picked up the stone and slayed the giant named Goliath? Good question. And if you think about it, it's not just an Old Testament thing. There are times even today when someone who has faith, who's following God, kills someone else. If you've ever served in combat, if you've ever loved a veteran, they might wrestle with that question. Is it okay for someone to kill? This brings in the whole capital punishment situation. If you shall not murder is in God's top 10, why would the government end someone's life? Isn't that unchristian and isn't that unbiblical? Here's the answer. There is a big difference in the Bible between murder that's forbidden and killing that sometimes is permitted. Just open the Bible and read. When God was running the Old Testament government, there were many times when his people were allowed to take someone else's life. They could kill, they could end a life. And it was not murder in that sense of being immoral. God entrusted the government with a system of rewards and punishments. And if you read passages like Genesis chapter 9, or how about this one from Romans chapter 13, it says, the God-given rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but from those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear of the one in authority? Then do what's right, and you will be commended. For the one in authority is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. Back in those days, the sword wasn't used to slap someone on the wrist. It was used to end someone's life. And Paul is saying here that God has given the government the sword, and they are allowed to kill. Now we probably need a lot more time to unpack that about capital punishment, the justice, the injustice, to make sure only the actually guilty are punished and innocent victims aren't caught up in some system. But we can say this, there are plenty of examples in both the New Testament and the Old where people are killed without crossing that line of do not murder. Now, obviously, this doesn't give all of us the right to kill someone else. No, Jesus taught us to turn the other cheek, to entrust that judgment, that sword, to God-given authorities. It's a complex issue, but I want you to think deeply about it. It means that David with Goliath is not some victimizer. He is the one that stood up for justice to protect the people of Israel. It means the government here that Paul was speaking to in the book of Romans was not sinning when they picked up the sword, but embracing their God-given calling. And it means that you and I today can support a government that uses rewards and punishments, even severe ones, to bring peace, justice, and order to our land. That might be a good thing to share with a veteran that you know. There are many people who have gone into war to protect innocent lives and have had to make that just drastic choice to end someone else's life. Many of them carry deep guilt and shame. In fact, maybe you're one of those people. Years ago, I had coffee with a former cop who found himself in very difficult situations, some of them rather intense, and he wondered, was it a sin to embrace his authority in that way, to threaten other people with punishments? And I opened my Bible to this chapter to be able to convince him, like, it is always a sin to murder. It's not always a sin to discipline, bring a consequence, or even, in certain situations, to kill. I pray that you know the difference and have the discernment to recognize this biblical teaching.
Hey, thanks for listening to Taboo Questions with me, Pastor Mike Novotny. You can find even more questions on timeofgrace.org/taboo questions and in my book entitled Taboo, Topics Christians Should Be Talking About But Don't. Just look for the link in the episode notes.